Yeah, bring
Glad you're beside me.
a pool noodle.
Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich for June 14, 2023. We'll have Clerk Tara get us started.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drouillard, that the meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich opens at 5 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? I see none. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Staff or council has seen them since last Friday. There being no corrections, the minutes are approved as distributed. Clerk Tara, is there any items not listed on the agenda?
I have none.
Nothing. Okay, number 5 is the Public Works Department. It's the Manager of Roads and Facilities monthly report. Everyone's had a chance to look at it. Are there any questions or comments from council? I see none. Next is our Water Department. Oh, sorry. Clerk Tara.
Moved by Drouillard, seconded by Pemberton, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the Manager of Roads and Facilities titled Monthly Activity Report dated June 14th, 2023 for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Number 6 is the Water Department, the Water Operations Manager monthly report, and we have Tim joining us. Tim, you any comments to make on your report?
No, I don't think so. I just, if you had any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Okay, thank you. Questions from council for Tim? I see none.
Was there any questions, Mr. Mayor, on the DWQMS audit?
I have some, but we can go to that as well. Question of council on the audit? I don't see any. Tim, I have a question, and it's a lot of work preparing for that audit, and you're not alone in that, but can you give council some idea of how much is involved in that?
Ooh. Yeah, I'll do my best to explain it. Unlike your typical MECP annual inspection, your ministry inspection, DW QMS honestly goes on year round. There's a bunch of different parts and pieces that go into this. First and foremost, there's 2 audits a year. One is external by SAI Global, which is the one that you have in front of you there. And the other audit is internal audit, which is done by DWQMS office staff help Kate Merle. Basically, Kate works with me throughout the year. Any changes I make to operations of any kind, doesn't matter what it is, basically has to go in through this DWQMS, and it's documented what change was made, why it was made, quite a bit of explanations into it. We also have a DWQMS assessment team, which is made up of myself and my 3 operators. And we sit down every year and there's a list of different things we do, possibilities that something can go wrong, and we assess every single possibility, and we do it every year, and we rate it as far as how severe is it, and if there's any changes to that, same thing. We document why us as assessment team, why do we feel that we made that change? Why do we find it more severe this year than last year? Give you an example, weather. Downpour or rain, the last 5 years has been way different than it was 15 years ago. The amount of rain we're getting, that affects the quality of the water coming in from the water plant. which in turn affects us, right? So, yeah, so there's a lot of steps to it, but the main is the two audits that we go through, and gathering all the information, make sure the external audit company, they come down. This year, they didn't have to come down. They did it remotely, but we had to send them all the documentation. They go through it. Next year, they'll do a more thorough and they'll actually come down. They'll still gather all our information, basically making sure they'll look through all my files, make sure everything we say that we're doing, that we are doing. And then they'll take that back and review it, but they'll also go to our sites and they may ask questions on the site, or they might want us to take them through a procedure that we do on site, like a chlorine residual check, whatever they ask, whatever they want to see, just so they can confirm that we are doing what we say in our policy and procedures we are doing.
Thank you, Tim. And as usual, we've come to expect an excellent report. So job well done again.
Thank
So
you.
our thanks.
Yeah, I can't take all the credit. It goes to the whole department and Kate herself too.
It's a team effort, but we're in good hands. And I just wanted council to express our appreciation for the job that you are doing down there and your team.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Okay. You can hang around if you want, Tim, but thanks for attending. Clerk Tara.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the water operations manager titled Monthly Activity Report, June 2023, dated June 14th, 2023 for information, and that council receives the DWQMS final surveillance audit report titled DWQMS Surveillance Audit Report for review, and that council receives the report of the water department titled Monthly Safety Report for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Number 7 is the wastewater department, wastewater operator monthly report. Do we have Archie with us?
Was there?
Yeah, I saw him. Tim, if you can hear me, do you know if Archie was logged in from his
Yes,
office?
he was. Yes, he was. Mr. Mayor, I talked to him about 5 minutes before I logged on myself, and he was back at the plant logging in. And
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he was logged in there at some point.
Yeah, we've lost him. Everyone has the report. Council has received it. Are there any questions? I see none. And further to that, and that's why I asked Archie to attend, he had another item. Just let me find it here. I'm not sure whether you could speak to it, Tim, but he has a wastewater lagoon sludge survey from Hydra Survey Limited. And I wanted to question Archie on that.
The in-depth part of that, Archie will have to, he just texted me, he lost connection. The in-depth part he'll have to give you, he was looking into this recommendation that he provided to council. He highly recommends it as far as, according to him, that he'll receive a lot of information from the lagoon inspection. But like I said, the detail part, there's more to it than that he could explain to you exactly what you're going to get out of it. But other than that, that's all I know is he highly recommends. It's well worth the money to invest in that and get that inspection done on the lagoon.
Thank you, Tim. Does council have any questions on that? If we haven't got the answer tonight, we'll get them from Archie.
Oh, he might get on after. We can always go back. Yeah.
Is he still trying, Tim, to get on? Okay, thank you.
Yes,
We
yes.
may come back to him. Let's circle back if Archie attends. Okay. Clerk Tara, please. Do you want to do the report?
Yeah, would you like me to go ahead with the resolution, or would you like to wait for more information from Archie before making a decision?
Is the resolution include the hydro survey? Okay, let's wait. Number 8 is the building department, the monthly building activity report. Council has had a chance to see that. Are there any questions from council? I see nothing. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the chief building official titled Monthly Activity Report, May 2023, dated June 14th, 2023 for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, number 9 is the fire department, the fire chief monthly report. Council has seen this. Is there any questions or comments? I see none. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drewlard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the fire department titled Monthly Activity Report, May 2023, dated June 14th, 2023 for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Number 10 is the drainage department. Brent and John, I guess you. Yep.
For you, Your Honor.
The monthly report, does any councilors have any questions of Brent on that? I see none. Clerk Tara?
The only thing I could add is the Gordon Campbell drain construction will probably be starting tomorrow.
That's good to know.
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the drainage superintendent titled Monthly Activity Report, May 2023, dated June 14th, 2023 for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And 10B is the meeting to consider the engineer's report. Are we okay for time? Doesn't matter. Okay, we can start right into it, Tara.
We'd have to wait until 5:15.
And it is now 5:12.
Call Archie if we could just ask the questions.
Tim, is Archie still trying to get in?
Yes, he is, Mr. Mayor. I actually told him I left my computer up here if he wants to quickly come here from Lagoon. And
Yeah, okay. I think it's important. If he can make it, we'd appreciate it.
I agree.
Thank you. We haven't got a lot of time, so I think we'll just sit tight for a couple minutes here and have to be on schedule. Yeah, things will take too long.
Yeah, yeah.
Pardon?
They do the rec month. Screws Tara up.
Oh, well,
And we have 10 minutes. It's okay.
want to skip ahead or?
It's up to you, Chair.
We'll squeeze it in.
Whatever. Nope. We have Archie.
Oh, terrific. Can't see him. But
No.
Archie, are you with us?
There you go.
Hi, I'm back.
Hi, Archie.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. I
Okay.
had some
Glad- glad to s-
technical difficulties.
Okay. We're going to backtrack Archie, and deal with the wastewater department.
Okay,
And we've gone through your monthly report,
yes,
and we'd like to talk about the survey that you're proposing.
yes, okay.
Okay, if you want to speak to it briefly, and then I'll ask council if they have any questions.
Absolutely. On our last inspection, one of the items that was pointed out from my inspector is, do we have a scheduled maintenance of the lagoon? I said, no. It kind of looks after itself. It rains, it dissipates in the sunshine. We've never had a problem. But at that time that was 2019, there was evidence of a slight sludge pond layer. He says, maybe be a good time to start looking at that. So I said, yeah, okay, well, I'll get on it. So that was part of our inspection at that time. Since then, I've done some research and there's new technology, and through one of our on-the-job training sessions, this company advertised what they do. And this is the survey people, which I presented to you. And I thought they sounded pretty good. Like, they come in, they put a robotic boat out there. They first of all see where the sludge is, like perhaps, and I don't think we need to clean the whole lagoon. There's just certain areas. And they determine the depth of the sludge as well as what the sludge is composed of, which is very important because what it's composed of dictates where you dispose of it. Like if it's okay to dispose on land, or if it's not, then we have to dewater it and truck it to wherever. And there's a huge money difference there. So the reason I had them do that, and it was free of charge, they simply Google mapped our lagoon, found out where we were, gave us information. I told them what we were looking for, and I was just trying to answer unanswered questions. So there's the availability there to find out what we have, and going forward to be able to kind of find out what it's going to cost. Like, we should be cleaning it on a regular basis. Like, the things there, it's never been cleaned. So that was just a proactive thing and a due diligence thing on my part. And I'm just throwing it out there to you people. If we have the money to do it this year, that'd be great. So then we can budget for next year and find out where we're at. Now, also to that point, when Dylan first started our EA, they had a price for like the whole plant expansion. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they quoted or proposed $1 million to clean the lagoon. Well, I don't think we need to clean the whole thing. We need to clean parts of it and keep us going. But if we don't do something, I think our next inspection, they'll look back on the recommendation that we come up with a plan, won't look good. So I'm being proactive and doing my due diligence. I got a quote, I'm throwing it at you. So let me know what you think.
Archie, I think there's companies that will buy the sludge as well, is there not?
Not that I'm aware of.
Thought there was, they come in and take it and they use it for, I remember they came in and they were talking to us when we were closing the lagoons in Park Hill. Anyways, that's something you and I can discuss after, but I didn't know if you'd heard of anything like that. Yeah.
I'll discuss it right now. Like, that's part of the survey to find out what kind of sludge it is. If it's worth buying, that's a very good possibility. But if it's not, but we have to find that out.
Thank you. Brent, you have a comment?
Yes, it might be about 10 years ago, Central Elgin cleaned out the lagoons that they have in Township of Southwold.
Yep.
And that sludge was all trucked away and spread on farm fields, or a lot of it was.
Right, but we have to find out what the sludge content is to be able to do that or to formulate a plan. Right now, we have no idea what it's like.
Yeah, so we gotta get that survey done to figure out what we got and then go from there, right? Yeah, for sure.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. Exactly.
Okay, thank you. Further questions from council? Councilor Goulard.
Sorry, Archie, thanks for the information. Just one question. You were saying that this should be done on a regular basis. What are you looking at as regular? And that's just for information. Is it yearly? Is it twice a year? Is it every other year? Or at this time, you don't know?
Well, I would surmise, and I'm just guessing, like on a 5-year basis would be more than adequate. Like even to have a survey done every 5 years to determine what the sludge content is would be prudent, in my opinion.
Thanks, Archie. Appreciate that.
Anything further from council? Councilor Dreifeld.
Archie, your recommendation in the report was budgeting it for 2024. Is that, or do you feel that there's more urgency in that?
My recommendation, Counselor, was to do the survey right now because it's not going to be cheaper next year to do the survey. And then we'll have an idea of what we need to do in 24.
Anything further? I have a question, Archie. Have you consulted with Dylan in regards to this?
Nope, I haven't.
Should we?
I don't see why, because they proposed $1 million to clean it out. So it's, I think for $7,000, we'll know ourselves and we can leave Dylan out of it.
Okay, fair enough. Could I just suggest we let them know that we're doing this? Is there any value to that?
You can, absolutely.
They are doing a lot of work out there. Councillor Dreifeld.
The only concern I have is that we're going through this planning stage with expansion. So is there an impact on that at all? I don't imagine there would be, but we're probably going to have to do this anyway. Am I correct? Because I know we're working hard as council to get a full-fledged proposal ready to go for next year. So.
Well, all I can say is that at some point, this process has to be done. If Dylan does it, I would presume it would be a cost plus. But if we can kind of forego that part of the expansion, because it honestly, folks, it needs to be done soon.
I'm not suggesting Dylan do it. I'm just suggesting with all the work they're doing, that this is part and parcel to what I expect from them prior to the end of August. A full report that we can take when we go after funding. And I think this is due diligence that would look good with any information that we have presenting to higher levels of government. So nothing further than that is my suggestion is just to let them know that we plan on doing this.
Okay, my question is, when are you thinking of doing it? This year, next year? 25?
The sooner the better. So it comes down to, can we finance it this year? I would like to see it done this year, but that's a decision we have to make.
That
Archie,
would-
I don't know whether
yeah,
we
yeah.
can right tonight.
That was my question. If we have $7,000 available in the wastewater budget, I think it would be very prudent to have that done this year. But that's just my recommendation. You folks decide.
We value your expertise, Archie, and that's why I wanted you here. So council can understand the importance of this. And when you think about it, $7,000 isn't a lot of money. So I think we need to find a way. Councillor Pemberton.
I was just going to make a comment that the resolution says for partial budget cleaning in 2024, but if we're recommending it now and the treasurer is saying that we can afford to do it this year, then I would recommend changing that resolution to do it when it's available to be done.
CAO Tracy, can you?
So Archie, you're saying 7,000 is gonna get us a survey and let us know what we need to do, right? I
Yes,
think-
exactly.
I think after we get the survey done, if it's dire, then we come back and try and get it done in 2023. If we can hold off to 2024. No matter what, it has to be done. I agree with you. It's maintenance. But I think we get the survey done. We approve the 7,000 tonight. Let's get the survey done and let's see where you're at and what you've got and what needs to be done. And then we decide if we want to come back and say, let's get it done ASAP or not. Is that fair, Archie?
I agree 100%, Tracy. You've hit the nail on the head. Let's find out where we're at right now and make decisions as a result of that. I agree with you 100%.
Thank you, Archie. Nothing further from council? Let's read the resolution and we can amend it if council desires.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the wastewater operator titled Monthly Activity Report, June 2023, dated June 14th, 2023 for information, and that council directs staff to undertake a lagoon sludge survey and budget for a partial clean of the lagoon in 2024.
Councillor Pemberton.
Yeah, I would recommend that we change that to say 2023 or as soon as it can be scheduled.
If I read or hear the resolution, it was the survey this year and partial clean out next year.
I think, sorry, I think that maybe we change it to, partial clean out on results of survey or something along that line so that maybe if that's what you're thinking, Corey? Like-
Oh,
oh,
yeah,
sorry.
yes, sorry. The way I read it is sludge survey and budget for partial clean of the lagoon in 2024. So I guess what I'm recommending is sludge survey for 2023 and
Maybe we start-
partial clean out in 2024 based on recommendations.
So
Or leave it as survey.
you want to amend that resolution? Do I get a seconder for that amendment? Councillor Drulard. Tara, can you make them changes?
Good point, Councillor Pemberton. You're exactly spot on. That's what I was after.
We're trying to keep you happy, Archie.
It's not heard.
Okay, so if we change the second line or amend the second line to, and that council directs staff to undertake a lagoon sludge survey and that council budget for a partial clean of the lagoon in 2024?
think we want to leave the partial cleaning out of the whole resolution and we come back with a recommendation on the survey.
Was your
Archie,
amendment,
does that
Councillor?
make sense?
Okay, so and that council directs staff to undertake a lagoon sludge survey.
In 2023.
Period.
Okay.
Period.
Okay.
Great.
Call a question.
All right, so moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the wastewater operator titled Monthly Activity Report, June 2023, dated June 14th, 2023 for information, and that council directs staff to undertake a lagoon sludge survey. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Thank you, Archie.
Yeah. So I will contact this fellow tomorrow if you agree and tell him that I've presented this to council and have him go ahead and get stuff in the works to get their little boat in our lagoon this year.
Yep. Just clear it with the person with the purse strings.
And I think you
Richard.
might want to invite us
Oh.
all up to that because it sounds quite interesting, actually.
Okay, bring your bathing suit.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll talk to Tracy tomorrow at some.
Yeah, very good.
Yep.
You're welcome to hang around, Archie.
Take care, folks.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we'll get back on schedule. That was an important issue here we had to deal with, so bear with us. I appreciate that. Okay, back to drainage. And our time is good now. Pardon? Yeah, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the meeting to consider the engineer's report for the Allen McCollum Drain and Gordon Little Drain and the Gilroy Drain opens at 5:31 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay. This is the meeting to consider the report for the Allen McCollum and Gordon Little Drain, date April 20, 2023, that was submitted to council by the engineer John Spreet of Spreet Associates. The purpose of this meeting is to allow the landowners and other affected parties to be given the opportunity to voice their concerns relating to any aspect of this report. I would ask that any affected parties present, please make us aware of your attendance now for the record. Is there an attendance sheet, Clerk Tara?
Yes, the attendance sheet is on the TV
Yeah.
table.
Please sign in when you get a chance. Matters dealing specifically with assessments, including where any land or road has been assessed too high or too low, any land or road that should have been assessed but has not been, or the land use was not duly considered, will be dealt with by the Court of Revision at a date to be determined after the passing of a provisional bylaw. During this meeting, each owner in the area requiring drainage that signed a Section 4 Drainage Act petition shall be given the opportunity to withdraw their name by putting the request in writing, signing and filing the notice with the clerk. Any owner in the area requiring drainage who did not sign the petition shall be given the opportunity to do so. Was everyone notified of this meeting to consider the report of the engineer in an appropriate way that were required to be notified under the Drainage Act?
Yes, on May 10th, 2023, all landowners and affected parties required to be notified under Section 42 of the Drainage Act were sent by regular mail notice of the date and time and location of this meeting. The notice included a copy of the report of the engineer for the Allen McCollum and Gordon Little Drain dated April 20th, 2023.
Thank you. I would now ask the engineer, John Spreet, to present his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. Tonight's meeting is on the Allen McCollum Drain and Gordon Little Drain. They're new drains under the Drainage Act, Section 4 drains that came about as a result of petitions signed by Allen McCollum, George Smith, and Mike McCollum, as well as the road authority for this section in lot C and B, Gore north of A and concession A, lands just west of Iona Road. So what we're proposing to do tonight is construct a new drain, a closed drainage system, a tile drainage system, starting at the MTO right away. The off ramp from the 401, if you're heading westbound, there's a ditch in the middle of the clover leaf there. So we want to start there. We're going to cross the MTO road allowance. We're going to close the MTO road, the off ramp for 3 days. We got permission from the MTO to do that, to open cut it. We're going to put a new pipe in, and we're going to bring it to a point where the Gordon Little drain comes in, and we're going to tie both drains together. So in the future, that if we ever have to upgrade the Gordon Little drain, don't have to deal with the MTO again. Just simplifies it. You know, they have a lot of procedures, they have a lot of stuff that we have to go through, and it takes time. So we thought we'd upsize that drain to be able to handle both the Gordon Little drain and the new Allen McCollum drain watersheds. From there, we'll cross the McCollum lands through the McKinnon lands, and we'll construct a branch over to George Smith's property west of the McKinnon lands. Then we'll come up through the McKinnon lands to Pioneer Line and have a branch that feeds 2 crossings under Pioneer Line, and then 3 branches through George Smith's property south of Pioneer Line to provide an outlet for Allen McCollum's lands on the south there, and also George Smith's lands, as well as the road authority. It's all closed drain. We're open cutting the road allowance on the 2 road crossings on Pioneer Line. We have another branch, I forgot to mention, branch C, which services Mike McCollum's lands to the east of the McKinnon lands. That's sort of the overall. It's all mostly concrete tile, 600 millimeter at the bottom end to 8-inch diameter at the top end. Are there any questions or comments from anybody?
Does council have any questions? I see none. Do any landowners or affected parties have questions or concerns? George, go ahead.
I have a whole big list here. Very concerned, my biggest concern is the fences. That the fence will not be cut, that the contractor should be able to dig underneath the fences. It occurs 5 different times within the drainage system. Cutting electric fence and just technique back up to is not up to par as far as I'm concerned. I'd rather that it not, well, I just do not want the wires to be cut. It's very easy, well, no, it's not easy because I've done it several times myself, working on the township to dig under a fence and continue on. So that's one of my biggest concerns.
Okay.
I also see in the report where the contractor has the right to cut the fence.
Well, George, through your worship, note 13, we specifically put a note on the drawing that says existing electric fence and lands of L. Smith, roll number, it has your roll number, to be laid down while crossing. No cutting of fence will be permitted. Contractor to provide sufficient notice to yourself to permit movement of livestock. So we specifically included a note on this, and the drawings actually supersede our specifications. So when,
that's being looked at.
yeah, so we put that on the plans because we've had that I've had that conversation with you several times on it.
Well, I know.
And I wanted to make sure it was on the plans, and if this report passes tonight, when we have a contractor and we'll meet them on site, we're gonna draw his attention to that, right, Brad?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I also noticed where you're making provision to have a different type of tile I'm not familiar with near the pond area. So it doesn't drain the tile. We talked about that 3 or 4 years ago. And since that time, we are not using that pond to the same extent. We are using city water for the water of livestock.
Okay.
So I'm not concerned if we can lower the price by putting in the same concrete tile. I'm all for it.
That's easy to do. We can, when we go to tender, we can change that. We put that in because originally you were concerned
That's
about
right.
that, so I don't think I followed up with you on that point, but
No.
yeah, that's easy to do when we go to tender. We can.
What might be the difference?
I can't recall what size of pipe it is, but you know, plastic pipe of 250, so that's probably about $40 a meter for the supply of that, whereas concrete tile is, I don't know, 18 or something, so you know, half the difference.
For a distance of?
I think it was 50 meters I called for. Shows it in the report better. $50 meters, so 150 feet.
So not a big,
It's not gonna be a huge difference, but there's also bedding that they don't have to provide because the concrete tile goes into the trench, so it will make a little bit of a difference.
well. I'd rather, well, not that I'd rather, but it's fine with me to continue with the same concrete tile that will.
Okay. We'll make that adjustment on the tender.
It was 300, sorry.
Anything else, George? Oh, yeah, not near done. I understand that the bidding for the contract will be by invitation, that there will be maybe up to 3, which makes it legal. I would like to see an open tender that for whoever is available to make a contract, they can so do.
Brent, you can speak to that point.
Yes, there is, now we have, it is an open tender. It's advertised on our website. The township has always done it by open tender and advertised in the West Elgin Chronicle. And as of recently, we've been having upwards of, there's 2 new contractors in the business now, Gilliard Drainage. And the other one is McNally. They've been bidding occasionally along with Van Bree, Hayter. Timmermans hasn't bid lately, but they may bid on this. I have no idea.
Clark too.
And Clark Drainage as well are installing concrete tile.
I just don't agree with invitation bidding,
Yeah, we're actually getting a lot more people bidding on drains.
and so it's an open bid then.
Yeah, sure.
Since I've been at the municipality of Dutton Dunwich, it's always been an open bid, always been advertised. It's not been just gone to specific people or businesses.
I guess when it comes to catch basins, what's um, that catch basin, we had to put in 4 risers, which is 2 feet to bring it up to level. I'd rather not have to go through that procedure again.
On average, the catch basins are set 8 inches below the surface of the ground, somewhere in 8 to 12 inches in that area. So, but obviously at the time of construction, we can adjust whatever we need to adjust because sometimes, you know, the field, when we lay it out in the field, maybe it's a little bit different, but yeah, we generally want it a little bit lower, not 2 feet lower, not, you know,
But I am concerned about erosion. If they're down too deep, they'll just be.
Okay. Anything else, George?
I can read my writing.
John, can you just turn your microphone on?
Oh, you're talking about the Department of Transportation or Highways or whatever. Will this, looking ahead, be good for 50 years for them? Or we want to have an outlet there that's sufficient for quite a while in the future? I know you put a lot of work into this. How far have you gone?
Well, I can't speak for the MTO because they have all sorts of ideas, but what we did, we went through a lot of work with them. We went through a lot of time. And, you know, we basically got it down to a point where we've cleaned up their whole corridor from that small branch A of the Gordon Little drain, where it dumps out into their property. You know, they own that strip of land north of, your daughter's property and the McCollum property. So we've routed that into the drain. We've looked at the sizing. The sizing is far more than 1.5 inches across the right of way. So as standards increase, I mean, 50 years ago, nobody was putting a drain that was 1.5 inches. This drain will be able to size probably 2.5 inches across the MTO right of way. It's all built with concrete sewer pipe, not concrete tile, which is, as you know, is reinforced pipe and very durable.
Back in that area recently, so I
So
can't really speak to it, but
I think it will be good for a fair number of years. Now, the MTO is talking about rebuilding the road there, but you know, the drain we're putting across there, if the bylaw passes, that drain will have the right to be there. And if the MTO tries to change anything, it'll be solely at the MTO's.
so you think the McClellan drain, is that the right name that it empties into?
Yeah,
Has it got sufficient outlet?
yes, we've checked that. It does. Any other questions, George?
Anything else, George?
Just a comment, we just stopped on the way here to look at the Carroll drain, and it's a couple inches above grade there, and it still.
It works
It
fine.
works it works
Yeah.
actually pretty good because the water has to go over the lip instead of.
Putting the top of those catch basins in too high really creates erosion, and we want to get away from that.
I'm happy to adjust them when we have our on-site meeting, and we can look at them and we can decide what we're gonna do.
So have you decided what grade the fiber optic or the gas lines are? You know where they are now at where you cross them?
Yeah, we did get some approximate elevations of them, so we have a good idea. We also decided that we'd open cut the road in that area rather than try to bore under it, so that we can
Yeah, I
see,
know, but
we can
to
see
me,
what we're
they're
going
so
through.
close to where we want to put that tile
Mhm.
that, and things have changed. The road has been built up and.
Yeah, we are fairly deep. I'm confident that we'll be under it, because where we cross Pioneer Line, we're almost on your side, we're 8.5 feet deep.
One more last question, getting in and out for the contractor and delivering the tile. Have you chosen a place? Because up near the buildings there, it is not, in my mind, a good place. And if you could come in from the road, building a new entranceway in, I know the road superintendent's not here, but he said before that he would put in a culvert to make that work and right directly in. And
Yeah, at the time of construction, we'll decide that. Like when we have a site meeting, we'll decide that, and the contractor will be there, and you know, we'll say, this is where we want you to enter and this is where we want to go on each property. So.
because that's concerned as well as who's looking after the livestock during construction, because it cannot be done in a day.
No,
It'll take up to a week or maybe whatever, 2 weeks.
depends on the weather. You're absolutely right.
So it is a big concern what happens during construction.
Yeah, I know, I can appreciate that.
Thank you, John.
No problem.
Brent, did you have a comment?
Yes, as far as adding a new access culvert for you to access your farm, typically what's happened in the past, and you can see it on third line where Carl Robinson's building a drain now in Southold. They'll fill the ditch with topsoil that they have to strip as part of the drainage project to make a roadway, a pathway out on and off the road to go straight through, and then they'll dig that topsoil back out and spread back over the drain. So if you want a road culvert across, that's between you and Murray Wickerson of the road department to figure out. So
Murray said at one of the
Okay. All your questions answered, George. Have you had all your questions sufficiently answered?
Pretty short form and I can't be.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Thanks for your time.
No problem. Now's the time to do it. Okay, I see no further questions. I think you asked all the questions for everyone, George, so thank you. You covered everything. Are there any landowners present who wish to add or remove their name from a Section 4 petition? Nobody. Okay, we're ready for the resolution.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich will provisionally adopt bylaw 2023-44 during this meeting. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. The clerk will be mailing a copy of bylaw 2023-44 provisionally passed tonight to all landowners and affected parties as required by Section 46 of the Drainage Act. The Court of Revision for the Allen McCollum and Gordon Little Drain will be held on July 19, 2023 at 4:15 p.m. Any owner of land assessed for the drainage works may appeal to the Court of Revision on any of the following grounds. Any land or road has been assessed an amount that is too high or too low. Any land or road that should have been assessed and has not been assessed. Due consideration has not been given to the use being made of the land. By written notice setting out the grounds of the appeal at least 10 days before the first sitting of the Court of Revision to the Chief Administrative Officer, Clerk of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich. And further, under Section 48 of the Drainage Act, any owner of land or any public utility affected by a drainage works may appeal to the tribunal on other aspects of this drainage works, and in every case, a notice of appeal shall be served within 40 days of the mailing of the provisional bylaw with the clerk of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich. A fact sheet titled Drainage Act Appeals. The forms required to file an appeal with regards to this drain are available on the OMAFRA website and upon request at the municipal office. If you have any questions regarding this drain or any other municipal drain in the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich, please contact our Drainage Superintendent, Brent Clutterbuck, at the municipal office. Just carry on to the next one. Thank you. We have another one. This is the meeting to consider the report for the Gilroy drain dated May 18, 2023 that was submitted to council by the engineer John Spreet of Spreet Associates. The purpose of this meeting is to allow the landowners and other affected parties to be given the opportunity to voice their concerns relating to any aspect of this report. I would ask that any affected parties present make us aware of your attendance now for the record. That sheet we can push around, okay. Matters dealing specifically with assessments, including where any land or road has been assessed too high or too low, any land or road that should have been assessed but has not been, or the land use was not duly considered, will be dealt with by the Court of Revision at a date to be determined after passing the provisional bylaw. During this meeting, each landowner in the area requiring drainage that signed a Section 4 Drainage Act petition shall be given the opportunity to allow or to withdraw their name by putting the request in writing, signing and filing the notice with the clerk. Any owner in the area requiring drainage who did not sign the petition shall be given the opportunity to do so. Was everyone notified of this meeting to consider the report of the engineer in appropriate way that were required to be notified under the Drainage Act?
Yes, on May 25th, 2023, all landowners and affected parties required to be notified under Section 42 of the Drainage Act were sent by regular mail notice of the date and time and location of this meeting. The notice included a copy of the report of the engineer for the Gilroy Drain dated May 18th, 2023.
Thank you. I would ask that engineer John Spreet to present his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. Tonight's meeting is the consideration of the Gilroy drain. So the Gilroy drain is an existing drain, or portions of it are an existing drain. It was last constructed, the bottom end south of Silver Clay Line in 1981. Prior to that, upstream of Silver Clay Line on the main drain was reconstructed in 1975. We've had a request and some petitions signed by landowners in the watershed. And what we're proposing to do tonight is reconstruct the Gilroy drain, starting at the open drain, which is south of Silver Clay Line, and running through the lands of Mr. McKillop, across Silver Clay Line into Mr. McKillop's lands again, all the way up to a point where there's a junction, and we're going to reconstruct the main drain through the Vercade lands, through the Goodhue property, and then cross the old CSX and Integris right-of-ways, the old railway right-of-ways, to the north side of those tracks. We're also proposing to construct a branch B, which is a new branch through the McKillop lands, and that will start at the main drain and run all the way up through those lands just into the Goodhue lands on the other side of Thompson Line. We're also proposing to construct a branch C, which will service the Ian and Alan McKillop's lands. There is an old branch C that goes through the woods, but it was more economical to not go through the woods. You know, it was a shorter route. So we're proposing to construct a branch C on the drawing. And then also Mr. Goodhue signed a request for a branch D, which is on the north side of Thompson Line, because there is an old private tile that crosses under Thompson Line and ties into the main drain at some point through the Vercade lands, but it was more economical just to cut that water off and construct a branch for approximately 167 meters. So we have 2 road crossings, and plus we have CSX crossings, Hydro One crossings, and Integris crossings on this drain. It's all a closed drain with concrete tile. Are there any questions?
Does council have any questions? Do any landowners or affected parties have any questions or concerns? I see none. Okay. Are there any landowners present who wish to add or remove their name from a Section 4 petition? Okay, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich will provisionally adopt bylaw 2023-43 during this meeting. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. The clerk will be mailing a copy of bylaw 2023-43 provisionally passed tonight to all landowners and affected parties as required by Section 46 of the Drainage Act. The Court of Revision for the Gilroy Drain will be held on July 19, 2023 at 4:15 p.m. Any owner of lands assessed for the drainage works may appeal to the Court of Revision on any of the following grounds. Any land or road that has been assessed an amount that is too high or too low. Any land or road that should have been assessed has not been assessed. Due consideration has not been given to the use being made of the land. By written notice setting out the grounds of the appeal at least 10 days before the first sitting of the Court of Revision to the Chief Administrative Officer, Clerk of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich. And further, under Section 48 of the Drainage Act, any owner of land or any public utility affected by a drainage works may appeal to the tribunal on other aspects of this drainage works, and in every case, a notice of appeal shall be served within 40 days of the mailing of the provisional bylaw with the clerk of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. A fact sheet titled Drainage Act Appeals. The forms required to fill an appeal with regards to this drain are available on the OMAFRA website and upon request at the municipal office. If you have any questions regarding this drain or any other municipal drain in the municipality of Dutton Dunwich, please contact our drainage superintendent, Brent Clutterbuck, at the municipal office. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Loveland, that the meeting to consider the engineer's report for the Allen McCollum Drain and Gordon Little Drain and Gilroy Drain closes at 5:59 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody's welcome to hang around. You got nothing better to do.
Mike, do you have any say, the landowners have any say into what contractors are doing the installation?
I will let Brent address that. Brent, just repeat the question, please, Bob.
I was wondering if, I mentioned it to Brett already, whether
Oh.
do you have any say as to what contractors get the contract to install the tile?
Your comments, Brent, go ahead. No.
We advertise, so they can see the advertisements on our website and in the paper. Unfortunately, we don't have a policy that makes it so that contractors have to pre-qualify. Through that pre-qualification process, we could possibly exclude a contractor. But at this point in time, I've never been directed by council to work out a pre-qualification process for hiring certain contractors or letting certain contractors bid. The issue that we would have is even though we have, I didn't include Carl Robinson in the list when we talked, we've got potential for 7 contractors. But even though we've got the potential for those 7 contractors, we're maybe only ending up with 1 or 2 bids anyways. And we might not have a competitive process if we were to say one contractor couldn't bid on a project.
Go ahead.
Is there any consideration to past performance
Yes.
when you're awarding tenders? I think, yes, that's probably our biggest. If you've had trouble with the contractor, I would hope that their bid has to be maybe a little better to me, you know.
I've had somebody say to me today, as a matter of fact, even if the bid is $100,000 higher than what this other fellow is bidding, they higher bid.
In consideration of litigations with other municipalities that companies are going through.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that, Nancy.
Looking into other municipalities that have issues and have lawsuits going on right now.
I know we've had this conversation, and I think we've always taken the stance that the more bidders, the better. It's more cost effective.
And that's.
You know, it's supply and demand, and we've been successful that way. Not to say it has to be all the time, but I don't know we haven't got to that point. And Brent, I don't know whether you want to get to that point at this time.
Well, my question.
It's a difficult one.
Do we have any say or not, or is it just the council that says this is what's happening?
We accept general practice is the lowest tender. Unless there's some predisposed conditions, but that's been the practice.
We have no say.
Well, not the way it's set up, Bob.
Be interesting to have a review and performance after the work is done so that you have some knowledge.
And I can't comment on that, but that does get done.
It does get done.
Yes.
The engineer finishes off with the final inspection and completion certificate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would be a change of our policy and procedure, and I'm not sure we're to that point yet. We're trying to keep everything cost
Say
effective.
you haven't had much trouble then.
No. Really, we haven't.
No, that's.
Comment?
What happens if there's damages to crops resulting in poor installation or something along those lines? Do we come to council?
So with within the report, allowances are given for right of way. And I'd have to look at the report to know for sure, but it's typically between 50 and 60 feet.
Oh, sorry, no, I'm not talking during installation, I'm talking after installation's done, say the drain doesn't drain properly. The lands are wetter than they originally were, things along that line.
The lands should not be wetter than they originally were. It's going to be compacted over the working area. Sometimes we run into situations where, yeah, there are wet spots left in the field. But when we've investigated, it really wasn't the tiles problem. You got to remember, this tile is being installed deeper than a field tile at a deeper elevation and is not going to drain water as fast from the surface of the ground as maybe the tile that we're replacing that might only be 3 feet or 3.5 feet deep. So this is the conduit to remove the water from your property. It's up to the property owner to install their own drainage system to take the gravitational water out of the area, what we would call the growing area of that soil, that top 2 feet, 30 inches of soil, the topsoil and that bit of subsoil below. That's left up to the landowners. In some situations I've been called back to where there was water laying on the field. We did find that there was no field tile there, that the old drain was about 1.5 or 2 feet higher, was connected in, but again, was not getting to the new drain. And one of those situations was this year. And if you remember, April was exceptionally wet. So we had a lot of water laying around as it was.
Right.
And we did come back and at the expense of the drain, did put in like a vertical tile pipe in 1 or 2 of those wet spots this spring on that farmer's land. And that's probably who you were talking with or a family member. And I think I've heard through the grapevine that they've systematically tiled that field this spring now. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they have.
Somebody told me that they've been in systematically tiled that farm.
Right.
In early May. I forget who the contractor was.
Brent's always available for any concerns, so don't hesitate to contact him.
The other thing that was mentioned is we're gonna going down the old main, busting up the old main as we go. Those pieces of the old main that come up. Responsible to pick it up.
Can we deal with that at the site meeting, Brent? Questions like that? If that's fair? Okay, thank you. Okay. Got to hear them out. I think we're right down to 11 on our planning department, unless I've missed something. Item 11A, a request to initiate a downtown community improvement plan for the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. I expect, Tracy, you're going to speak to that.
Yes, and did you want me to go through my report in detail, or do you want me to just answer questions?
Everybody has seen the report. Councillor Dreyfus, do you want to speak to that as well?
Yes, Tracy, just one question, and this is a result of a meeting that I had with Tracy and Tara after understanding what's involved in building a community improvement plan and the allocation of funds, municipal funds, and supporting businesses to do community improvements. In particular, we're speaking with speaking with downtown at this point in time to improve it. So this is a result of that conversation, and the Economic Development Committee had full intentions of slowly working away at this plan and building it themselves. But I think we do need the expertise of a planner to help us get through the process. So, and it's also a big time commitment as well for individuals within our committee. So that, so this is a result of But this proposal is a result of, what we've learned through the process in the development. The only question I have, Tracy, and maybe it was short-sightedness on my part, was in speaking with some of the committee members, they wanted me to raise the question of we're focused on this particular proposal focuses on the downtown community, downtown Dutton in particular. I think our committee, community improvement, is focusing on the all-encompassing part of our community. So we're looking at possibly, I know the focus is in this particular case is downtown Dutton, but we have Wallacestown, we have Iona, and the whole encompassing aspect of wayfinding from the 401, that kind of thing. So I'm just like your feedback on that approach. Is that possible through this approach as well? Because we have a brand, we have a community brand. There's a lot of things that will evolve out of this, and I'm afraid that our committee's looking for something a bit more. So.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councilor Dreyfus's question. So the CIP will create a pot of money, and that pot of money will be on a first come first served basis. So the committee, the Economic Development Committee, who will be our steering committee for this project, will need to just define where that study area will include and how many people have access to the pot of money. Because we are looking at, funding grants, whether it's 50% of a facade improvement or 25% or a loan. The bigger your study area and the people who are part of your CIP, the more you have to share that potential for the funds that are in that pot. So when after our meeting and when I sat down and wrote this report, I did question too if the committee might want to do downtown portions of all of the settlement areas like Wallacestown and Iona. So we can certainly review that with the committee. The step 1 through 3 in our proposed work plan includes identifying that study area, doing a walking tour, and picking out where we want to have that focus on. So we can definitely we've called it kind of it's a homegrown in-house document that is customized to your area. So we'll be able to work with that. If the committee wants, or sorry, if council wants, we can remove that portion out of the resolution to give the Economic Development Committee a little bit more flexibility in being able to define that study area. So in the second part of the recommendation, it could just say that the municipality directs administration to proceed with a municipally initiated CIP, and then you can just stop it there. It doesn't have to refer to the downtown portion of the Dutton settlement area at this time. We can always fine tune that later on. So that would be my recommendation, to give the committee a little bit more flexibility of defining that area.
Anything further for council? Councilor Pemberton.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure if this is thank you, Mayor. A question for Tracy, Planner Tracy or CAO Tracy. I guess I'd just be concerned. We've talked a lot about staff resources and that we're running a little thin on staff resources. Do we have the staff resources is my first question. And my second question would be, with the community improvement plan, where does the money come from? Is it solely from grants? Is it funding? Is it from municipal tax base? Where does that come from?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I'll start, and then the CAO can add to it later. For staffing, the intent is to do this in-house with existing staff. It will take about a year to complete and have a document that we can have council consider for final adoption. The expenses to do the project would come from the Economic Development Committee's budget, and that would include things like printing and advertising, any displays or booths that will be held in order to help promote the project and get engagement from the community. So you are right, it will take additional staff resources for this. With respect to the money for the grants, the purpose of bringing this report to council is to make sure you understood that we will get to a point where we'll make some recommendations on funding. You will have to put money in your budget in the future to be able to access these sort of partnerships in the community improvement plan, either, like I said, 50% of property owner's facade. So you might have to pay for their painting or new windows or new lighting or new signage, or there might be some community driven projects that might come out of this too, like new planter boxes, new garbage cans, new seating, on street seating. So those recommendations will come in. So if there's no interest at all in funding something like this, it's important that council is aware of this right at the front before we proceed. With respect to the partnership of other grants, they could be matched with the County of Elgin's economic incentives program. We might have like a third party matching system. But what I've suggested is that if it's going to take a year to prepare the plan, your first budget year that you'll need to consider allocating funds may be 2025. That would be the first year that you would have funds available. And you can set those milestones. For example, we could have incentives to help businesses make their buildings more accessible and have more barrier-free access. So you might put $1,000 aside for that. Painting and cleanup, you would maybe put $1,000 aside for that. And then we would have those available, and it would be on a first come, first served basis that a property owner or a tenant would be able to access. So I do understand the Economic Development Committee also has a budget that that might end up being where the funds come from, and then the EDC keeps asking council to set aside funds for that. But under the Municipal Act and the Planning Act, you have to have a CIP in order to be able to give out the funds.
Okay, anything further? Councillor Pemberton.
Yeah, Tracy, can you comment on, so that came up with two more questions. So we still said existing staff. I'm still not sure we have the staff resources. So I'd like to understand that a little bit better. And even though we're not looking at using any funding until 2025, do we have an estimated amount of what we think we would need to put into this for 2025?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. It really depends on how we structure the CIP. Whether we're going to do facades, whether we're going to do, like Tracy said, down like planter boxes, those kind of things. Every CIP plan is different. With the ones I've worked in, if they're going to get half back, they have to bring in all their expenses, prove that they did it. Then they get back half after they've proved they've given it. So sometimes you might approve a job in 2025, but you're not putting the money out till 2026. So every budget would be deferred. So it is going to be staff time tracking all these projects that were approved through the CIB program. We got to the point in St. Thomas that we did put the loans. We had also interest-free loans. We put those right on the tax roll, just in case it was sold before it was paid off. But then they came up with a 2-year monthly plan where they had to pay it back in 2 years. It was interest-free, so there'd be tracking of those loans. And like I say, it depends how we structure our CIP and how in depth it's going to be, whether it's going to be a drain on staff resources. I think it's a good idea. I think cleaning up, the commercial areas and everything is great, and it'll be council's vision on what they want to see, if they want to dictate on what they want from the stores and those kind of things as well. So
just to answer some of your questions, Corey, we can move this along as fast as we want or as slow as we want. So give you an example, West Elgin did theirs in 2013 and Rodney was finished 2 years ago. So if you look at their CIP plan from 2013, they've executed just about everything on that plan to their vision at that time. So a lot of it was done through, they had to do structural or main street improvements anyway. Like we can move as fast or as slow as we want. I think the key for the Economic Development Committee is more importantly the vision. It's I think that's the target here. And also I'll reiterate, we have a very strong committee that is willing to do a lot of work for this. So if staff resources become a problem and they need something initiated, I'm sure we have people on our committee that can initiate it. We just need the support of our planner to put the package together so it becomes a legal document. And I think that's what we're really looking for in our Economic Development Committee, because we were willing to write this thing on our own over a certain length of time. So it's more about the vision of how we want to improve our community. And that's why I'm wanting to open it up to the broader picture rather than just Dutton. It's about Dutton Dunwich, because I think that's what people are asking us to do. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Tracy, Planner Tracy, we have you for so many hours a week. What do you anticipate above and beyond that if you take on this project?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So my goal would be to stay within the agreed upon hours. My contract does have flexibility that if you need me a little bit more, then I will be available to help. So using the official plan as an example, it was about an extra 20 hours a month that I added to my maximum, and was able to help whenever I can. I will lean heavily on the Economic Development Committee because I can't be in all places at all times. So I will be communicating with them, and hopefully that they will be the ones who will help do some door knocking and surveys, attending festivals and fairs, and setting up a booth and getting some of the questionnaires set and implemented. So I will be working in conjunction with them and the clerk's department as well for marketing and promotion, and we'll try to do it as economical as possible.
Thank you. So is it fair to say there's no budget impact in 2023?
That's correct. Again, the Economic Development Committee does currently have a budget that we will use for the marketing and promotion and any print material and advertisement. That'll all come out of their existing 2023 budget.
Thank you. Anything further from council? Question, please, Clerk. Tara.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dryfout, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Request to Initiate a Downtown Community Improvement Plan, CIP, for the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich, dated June 14th, 2023, for information, and that Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich directs administration to proceed with a municipally initiated CIP. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. 11B, a request to initiate a heritage designation of 199 Curry Road by the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. That's where we're sitting. Tracy, you have a report?
That's right. Yes, so I won't go into a lot of detail with the report, but the key point of the request this evening is that the Heritage Committee always asks the property owner for permission before that they proceed with the research for a heritage designation. And in your situation, the municipality of Dutton Dunwich is the property owner of 199 Curry Road. So that is the reason why we have this report first. We just wanted your authorization to direct administration and the Heritage Committee to proceed with that research. Your next steps will be is after they do their normal research, I will bring a report to council with the notice of intent, and that's the Ontario Planning or the Ontario Heritage Act starts kicking in with respect to notifications, appeal periods, and then the passing of the bylaw. So that's the reason why I am here before you this evening. So happy to answer any questions.
Any question from council? I see none. I think it'll be a valuable exercise just doing the research on this building. There is a story to be told. So question, please, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Request to Initiate a Heritage Designation of 199 Curry Road by the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich, dated June 14th, 2023, for information, and that Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich directs administration to proceed with a municipally initiated heritage designation of 199 Curry Road under the provisions of the Ontario Heritage Act. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. 11C, a request to initiate a heritage designation of 29593 Talbot Line by the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich. The Wallace Town Hall. Go ahead, Tracy.
Yes, so very similarly to the last request, South Dunwich Hall is recommended by the committee for designation as well, and you are the property owner. So we're asking you for permission to direct administration to proceed. Again, the committee will do the research, and then we'll come back with a report under the Heritage Act for those normal steps. And the only difference with this one is that this one's not on the registry yet. So we do need to actually add it to the registry through this process as well, which is fine because under the new Heritage Act, when it's on a registry, it expires after 2 years. So this is actually a good thing that it wasn't on, because then it can go on and then we don't have to worry about the 2-year expiry. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Anything from council? Again, I look forward to that research. I've heard stories about the origins of that hall and who was involved with building it. So your research will either prove that right or wrong. So, Clerk Tara, question, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Request to Initiate a Heritage Designation of 29593 Talbot Line of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich, dated June 14th, 2023, for information, and that Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich directs administration to proceed with a municipally initiated heritage designation of 29593 Talbot Line under the provisions of the Ontario Heritage Act. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. How's council doing? Are we good to keep going for a while? Okay. Number 12, Recreation Department, the monthly activity report. Any questions or comments from council on that report? I see none. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Drouillard, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the Recreation and Administrative Assistant titled Monthly Activity Report, May 2023, dated June 14th, 2023, for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, on to correspondence. The City of Cambridge Highway Traffic Act amendments. Any questions or comments from council on that? I see nothing. Clerk Tara.
Moved by Drouillard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the City of Cambridge requesting the Ontario government amend Section 205.1 of the HTA to permit municipalities to locate an ASE system permanently or temporarily on any roadway under the jurisdiction of municipalities and as determined by municipalities and not be restricted to only community safety zones and school safety zones. And that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the City of Cambridge. All in favor? That's carried.
And another one?
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that relevant correspondence was reviewed. All in favor? And that's carried.
The consent agenda. Is there any of those items that council wishes to discuss? See no questions. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the items on the consent agenda be approved. All in favor? And that's carried.
Down to the clerk's report, monthly activity report. Is there any question from council for Clerk Tara? I see none.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the clerk titled Monthly Activity Report, May 2023, dated June 14th, 2023 for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, and B, the public notice policy update. Anything from council on that? I see none. Clerk Tara.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the clerk titled Public Notice Policy Update dated June 14th, 2023 for information, and that staff are directed to bring back a bylaw approving this policy. All in favor? And that's carried.
And item C is our short-term accommodation licensing enforcement. Expect there may be some questions, or Clerk Tara may want to speak to that further.
So I've just kind of outlined in my report that we did have our deadline of June 1st. We had one short-term accommodation come forward, and now they're in the licensing process. We are aware that there are a few other short-term accommodations throughout the municipality. We wanted to allow them to voluntarily get licensed. So I'm just kind of looking for some direction from council on how you would like us to enforce the bylaw, the licensing bylaw.
Councillor Pemberton.
Thanks, Mayor. I guess my one question is the other bylaws in the municipality are, you basically got two options in your report, a proactive, you go out and investigate, or by complaint. How are the other bylaws enforced?
We take an education and by complaint approach to our other bylaws as well. We don't have a bylaw officer going around and saying your grass is too long.
So I guess then my recommendation would be to continue to do what we would typically do.
Any further comments on that? This is a tough one. Deputy Mayor Loveland, you want to comment on it?
I agree with Councillor Pemberton. Myself, keep it the same. I'm sure we'll have some people who would like us to do it a little differently, but they have the right to complain, and I guess as long as they have that, so be it. I can live with that.
Anything further? I guess we've never taken a heavy-handed approach in this municipality, so do you have a comment? Go ahead, Councillor.
You can't, I don't think it's the right thing to do is to send a letter of notice to on speculation. It's just, I don't think it's appropriate until we have a complaint. So just guessing at it, it's not the right thing to do, so.
Okay, Councillor Pemberton, go ahead.
I'll just make one further comment from personal experience. Receiving a complaint, it makes it a lot easier when, and if you ever have to take somebody to court, you've got a complaint, you didn't just show up for no reason. So it's much cleaner and easier to receive that complaint, go out and investigate. You're there for a specific reason at that point in time than not just because you think you should show up. So
Okay, Clerk Tara, are you okay with that, or are you clear on the direction?
Yep, that's good for us.
Okay, thank you. We have a resolution.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the clerk titled Short-Term Accommodation Licensing Enforcement dated June 14th, 2023 for information, and that council directs staff on how to proceed with future enforcement. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, 16 is CAO Treasurer's Report, monthly activity report. Everyone has seen that. Is there any questions from council? I see none. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO treasurer titled Monthly Activity Report, May 2023, dated June 14th, 2023 for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, B is the capital projects for operations. Tracy, would you like to speak to that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, this is just an update to let you know where these are coming in. Not a lot of stock available, so we did find a roadside mower that was in stock, which staff is gone with. And the patrol trucks come in quite high. So I did ask the staff to go out and look and see what they could find on lots. Find maybe somebody had somebody sitting in inventory. They did come up with one, but then in the meantime, they did get a email back from Disbro who was the only one that tendered. That they had one coming in exactly what they needed and black, which is what the guys wanted. So came in just under the $60,000 budget. So they've gone with that one. So a little over budget on the roadside mower, but we did stay on budget with the truck. So just a little update so you guys know where that came in at. Any questions?
Question from council. Please, Councilor Dreyfus.
We tendered and we only had one reply on a tender.
Disbro was the only one, and you know, and he did say to Murray, like, it's not a good economy to be sending out tenders for vehicles, because first of all, he can't get them, and like I
stock.
said in my report, he couldn't even guarantee those prices because we might end up with the 2024, and then he'd have to charge us 2024 prices, and that was why I asked Murray to go start looking around at inventory, and he was gonna go with a 2022, it was brand new, but it was 2022, which is fine. And with a different dealer, and then Disbro come in with this one, and I thought, well, that's fairer because he did quote, so it'd be nice to use him because he did quote, and it actually was a little cheaper than the 2022, so.
So were you looking for specific models? Is that?
Murray had things he wanted. I think he ended up going with the smaller engine, but I said, if you're just doing patrol, you're not towing, so I think he did end up with a smaller engine than he wanted, but I think everything else was right what he was looking for, so.
Okay, and the Batwing mower, I think, is going to be an asset. It's gonna last longer than them disc mowers, so
Yeah.
for the type of work that they do.
Yeah, it's a little heavier duty and a longer span, I believe, so it can get farther down in the ditch without actually going down into the ditch, so. And just an update on vehicles, I have been reaching out to some of my municipal cronies, and I'm trying to get a hold of a vehicle replacement policy that we can bring to council so that we're doing a little more rotating and getting them replaced when we should be, that kind of thing. So since we're on vehicles.
Okay. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO treasurer titled 2023 Capital Projects Operations dated June 14th, 2023 for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Sorry, the county road maintenance agreement. Tracy, would you like to comment on that?
Well, I've laid out all the changes that are coming with this new road maintenance agreement, and as my report says, we did all the lower tiers did get together and have it looked at by a lawyer. We presented changes we'd like to see. So we want to have council just kind of approve this in theory, so we can get the county on it. And then hopefully the county will amend from what our road maintenance staff have suggested get changed. So this is just going to be a report we can take to the county that we're willing to go ahead with it in theory and get them moving on it, because it's very far behind. So
Anything from council? So we're not agreeing to the actual road use agreement, a road maintenance agreement. It's a negotiation, ongoing. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO treasurer titled County Road Maintenance Agreement dated June 14th, 2023 for information, and that council authorize staff to request the county to prepare the finalized agreement based on the amended version. All in favor? And that's carried.
And the last item for our CAO treasurer is the operational budget to actual. Everybody has the report. Are there any questions?
Nope.
Just one. Is anything keeping you up at night?
oh, you like I said when you come in, Sherry's ready to put me in that garbage can, and Oscar the Grouch. I've been having a bit of a meltdown lately.
I wish I hadn't asked that. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by,
One quick question
Oh,
before we go ahead. I see we've got a little bit of, not as much as we have had in outstanding capital at the bank loans, I guess. And I know that we've have several drains that have been completed, but are those invoices sent out to the people? I know I haven't got mine yet.
No, they'll be going on the final bill. I actually sent Brent an email this morning when he can get them to us so we can get them on the final tax bill.
Okay, so you don't send them out, you just do them.
They use it, depends on the amount. So we did do that policy where if it's a certain amount, you get an invoice. If not, it goes on the tax bill. So it'll depend on what your share of the assessment is. So, but Brent has to get it to Sherry so she can either do an invoice or get them on the tax bill. So. And our line of credit was, zero for a day. I was so excited.
I just want to make the comment that, maybe if those were sent out, there's people that would pay it instead of waiting for their tax bill. And I'm one of them.
And that's the thing is getting getting Brent to get the assessment and the spreadsheet done so we can get them out. And I've made this point before that, we rely on grants and stuff like that, but it's the cash flow in between getting this stuff that was what is hurting us. So I can definitely talk to Brent about, getting these a little quicker, sending them out more often or so.
So how long is it taking for us to get these into the system?
It depends on how long the construction on a drain takes or anything like that. So, like these two today, like you'll get the contractor and then you're paying, he's making, monthly draws of I don't know, let's say $1 million drain. And so you're paying that out and then you can't assess the landowners till everything's done and expense. So then you could be a year later by the time you get, the engineer signs off and you get the assessment spread. So, it is a bit of a cash flow problem when you're dealing with stuff like that. You can't. I know we had a couple people actually come in this year and they gave us money. They said, we just want to, we know what the estimate is and we're going to give you the money now because they want to pay it. And then of course, if it comes in different, then we'll adjust it somehow. But not everybody wants to pay till they know exact amount, right? So
Can we legally invoice for partial, not to 100%, but to a percentage of the value?
I'm not
I think
exactly sure on drains. I know that you have to do it based on the assessment at the end of you actually have the actual project. Similar to a local improvement, let's say, or something. So that I could talk to Brent about that. He'd know a little better, but I know when I took the
I think it's,
assessment
I really,
drainage-
I think it's worth exploring personally, because I mean, I look at these as not being our risk. And we're carrying risk
Mhm.
for, if it's a year later, to me, that is like
Yeah.
big risk, in my opinion. So I think to mitigate risk, I think we should have, I'm just asking if we are legally allowed to,
Yeah.
I would consider,
Yeah.
even if it's 65% or 70%, there's still that holdback period. So I think we have the legal right, I would hope we would have the legal right to somehow get our capital back, because we're carrying the risk. And that concerns me a little bit. So I think it's just good business
Yeah,
practice.
I agree 100%. You know, I don't want to say that's the way it's always been done, but that's the way it's always been done. I think every municipality does it when they don't do anything until they get the final cost, but I don't know if there's anything in the Drainage Act that says you can't bill, portions. But something to look at.
Yeah, I guess my comment is we've already done some of these. I mean, I think they're completed. We've done the final assessments on the drain bylaws. Like the McFarland one was done what, a month and a half, 2 months ago. So it's complete and we haven't got bills yet. So I think it might be, some of it might be our policy that we need to sit and look at. And if that's the case, we're borrowing money for other people that we don't need.
Yeah. And that depends on when Brent can get to his, well, he has to get the final assessment from Spreet with the breakdown, and then he has to send the spreadsheet to us for each drain, so it's.
But I think he's already done that. If the bylaws passed, it's got the final assessment for everybody on it.
Right, but not the cost breakdown. That comes from Spreet and, plus all the any money you spent on mailing and everything else, so,
Clerk Terry, you want to comment on that?
Yes, there is a little bit of a difference as well through the Drainage Act because they get a certain portion back as a farm owner. So when we get the initial list of affected property owners, I have to give who's got farm tax status because they'll get a grant portion of that assessment from OMAFRA. So they've got to contact OMAFRA and say, okay, how much do they get as a grant portion on this drain? So they might be assessed for $1,000, but they only actually need to pay $600 depending on what that grant portion is.
yes, and then Brent has to take all that and do an application to OMAFRA. Like it's a long convoluted process to get these drains built. It's not just this is what we spent and you split it. There's a lot to it, but I'm going to be with Brent tomorrow. I'll discuss it with him and see what he says. So, yeah.
If that's all Brent had to do, it'd probably speed it up, but as we know, he's looking after Southold and us, so he's extremely busy.
And
But yeah, if we can streamline, that'd be great.
yeah, and then we have to send it off to Spreet, and we do charge interest on the length of time from their charged interest from when we spent money to when we build it. So.
This is along the same lines as the grant process. That Ashline project done for, well, we had a thing last summer completed. And when did you receive the final funding on that, Tracy?
Middle of May. That's why I was all excited. We got out of our line of credit.
So we carried $1 million.
Yeah.
So grants are great, and it's a different game now where interest rates aren't as cheap as they were. So $1 million is a lot of money and paying a lot of interest on. So it's something to be aware of. Okay. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO Treasurer titled May 31st, 2023, Operational Budget to Actual dated June 14th, 2023 for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Are we going to break or you want to just march through? Council?
I'm glad to go, keep
All
on
right.
going if everybody else wants to do it.
We're okay with that? Okay. 17, unfinished business. Counselor Drive, or Brulard, sorry.
That's okay. I just had one question. Uh, when we discussed the backup engineer last month, I was hoping that we were gonna be provided some
I'm
information.
not bringing that back. Not gonna bring it back.
You're not doing it at all?
No.
Okay. I hope that you understand that I wasn't, what I was asking for was for information. I can't vote on something without information. I wasn't against it, and I think that was misunderstood. Okay, thank you.
Anything further unfinished business? Deputy Mayor Loveland.
I'm not sure this is unfinished business or maybe new business or maybe something we want to talk about. But maybe I think we really need to do something with our garbage collection contractor. I think he needs to come to council and explain what's going on here. And I think if we're going to put a new contract out, I think we need to put some different clauses in so that there's penalties. We all been around long enough to know that you are going to have some vehicle problems sometimes, but there's nothing that can stop that contractor from letting us know so we can inform our people. So I really would like to see him to come to council so we can have a little discussion with him.
I agree, and the problem is our staff, they don't know about it till 10 o'clock at night. You know, and I think they were aware of problems prior to that, so. Councillor Pemberton.
And I agree with Deputy Mayor Loveland. I guess before they come to council, could we get sent a copy of the current contract? So that we can understand what's in there and be informed of it before they come?
Okay,
Tara, does that end this year or next 2025? The current contract, correct?
Yeah, it's in line with the transition period for the producer responsibility for the blue box.
okay, anything further unfinished? New business. Oh, yeah, we're good. And that's just the council meeting schedule for the summer. Everybody's seen that and we're good with that? Resolution, please, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich deviates from procedure bylaw 2022-66, section 4.3.1, and will hold the July 19th and August 16th council meetings at 4 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
And the item B was the West Lauren Optimus Food Trailer sponsor request. That request came to me from Ron Ross, and I wasn't going to give him a response without some discussion on it. And I think the point of that is it's not a bad idea, but we've got the Lions and we've got the Wallstown Optimus, so all that's got to be considered. So is there any comments from council on that particular issue? Go ahead.
I guess I have a little trouble supporting it because the club is really outside of our municipality. I'm not sure how much work they really do here. Don't want to be hard about it, but I think we probably should look after our own first.
They are in our community. I've seen them. They've been at Backstage House a number of times, but yeah, look after our own. But I think, you know, we'd be obligated to do the same for everybody. So any further discussion on that? Tara, do you have a resolution that?
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich decides not to place their sponsorship on the West Lauren Optimus trailer. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. And under announcements, I just had a paper copy of a note I received from Sandridge Farm, the Page family. that council had an opportunity to look at. It was a small gesture to a man that I think was held in high regards in this community. And our office received calls thanking us for the gesture. When I attended the visitation, it was much appreciated that we honored Don with lowering the flag to half mast. So I just wanted to share that with council that not exactly per our flag policy, but in discussion with our clerk and CAO, we felt it was the nice and proper thing to do in this case. So I just wanted council to be aware of that. It was well received by the Page family and much appreciated.
I also have an announcement. So MTO has approved the Service Ontario closer to 3 days a week. So they're going to be open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, starting July 4th. So that'll alleviate that alleviate the problem of the staff member being down there alone on Fridays because the doctor's office is not open. So.
Okay, that's good. Any other announcements? See none. The only thing we have left is bylaws. Look, Tara.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Loveland, that bylaw 2023-28 being a bylaw to borrow on the credit of the corporation in the amount of $193,800 for the improvement of the Dunwich Dutton school drain be read a third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Whenever you're ready, just.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that bylaw 2023-29 being a bylaw to borrow on the credit of the corporation in the amount of $99,500 for the improvement of the Gordon Campbell drain be read a third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drulard, that bylaw 2023-41, a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between the corporation of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich and Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority to provide non-mandatory programs and services be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Drulard, seconded by Pemberton, that bylaw 2023-42, a bylaw imposing special annual drainage rates upon land in respect of which money is borrowed under the Tile Drainage Act for Lawrence Marintet, be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that bylaw 2023-43 being a bylaw to borrow on the credit of the corporation of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich in the amount of $487,400 for the improvement of the Gilroy drain be read a first and second time and provisionally adopted, and that the Court of Revision be held on July 19th, 2023 at approximately 4:15 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Loveland, seconded by Drulard, that bylaw 2023-44 being a bylaw to borrow on the credit of the corporation of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich in the amount of $690,000 for the construction of the Allen McCollum and Gordon Little Drain be read a first and second time and provisionally adopted, and that the Court of Revision be held on July 19th, 2023 at approximately 4:15 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried. All right. Moved by Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that bylaw 2023-45 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipal council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Just a quick math there, then those two drains are $1.17 million. Okay, we can wrap it up. Clerk Taylor.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich closes at 7 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
And you guys have subs in the back.
Thanks, everyone. I got a hope in the ribs from the clerk allowing that to go on too long, and I did, but it's the community we live in.